What's up, guys? Welcome back to Michigan Muckraker. My name is Michelle. Today is August 23rd of 2023. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit late. I was doing a show this morning over on Turn the Page on Rumble with Janine, so I suggest you check that out. We talked about Maui and mask mandates coming back. But today, I wanted to talk to you about Maui, and obviously what happened there, again, is so devastating. I'm so sorry for all of those people. Everything that we talk about today, I'm going to show proof of what I'm saying. And there's a lot of speculation going on about how exactly the fire started that I am going to get into a little bit, but there's two prevailing theories right now. One is how Hawaiian Electrical Company did not clear the brush appropriately around an electric pole, and so that's what started the fire. And then you have individuals that are saying this is a directed energy weapon, which is absolutely 100% a real thing. $1 billion just went into it this year, I believe. Again, I have all the proof of what I'm saying, but we probably will never know for sure exactly how it started. Again, there's tons of information out there both ways. One thing I want to say about the electrical company, I have read an article. Now, this article is the only one that I could not find again. I swore I emailed myself this article, but I guess I can't find it. So in it, that says that Larry Ellison, who owns an island right next to Maui, 98% of this island, a few years back was trying to buy Hawaiian Electrical Company. And now I'm sure you've seen that the Hawaiian Electrical Company, the stocks have plummeted down 69%, I believe. So if they are responsible, obviously they deserve to take a hit, but we need to just watch out and make sure that this isn't actually lowering the price of this company, making them insolvent potentially, and then a private person like Larry Ellison, who is making his little island a sustainable development utopia, by the way, and this individual or somebody like him might try to buy this electric company if they go under. So we got to see what's going on with that situation. But again, a lot going on. I don't know what you guys have heard, so I'm going to try to go over all of it as well as I can. Thank you guys for joining me, by the way. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. If you like this kind of content, please smash like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification to be notified whenever I go live. Jessica says, keep covering the stories. You're awesome. Thank you, Jessica. You're awesome for being here. Thank you for hanging out. All right, so now I'm going to present this information, which this is the tab I wanted to share. This is just showing you that this is Lahaina. This is where the fire took place. The majority of the damage was done, and all of the stories that are coming out about the fact that the schools didn't have electricity, so they went home, but the homes and the parents' work had electricity. Why? Doesn't that seem very suspicious to you? So then children were home alone. And there's been reports right now, it's in the hundreds that have been confirmed deceased, but locals are saying it's 1,000 plus. So again, pray for these families. What's going on there is terrible, but what's even worse is that right off the bat, people were trying to take advantage of this devastation by buying the land for really cheap. If you don't know, the people in this area were majority indigenous Hawaiians that have been living there for hundreds of years. Their families have lived there. It was not selling to conglomerates that wanted to build huge properties, and smart buildings and such. They were defying that. They were fighting back against that, and now their devastation. They're gone. Their houses are gone, and their people have perished. And so we need to ask why. Why is it that there's so much suspicious activity going on with this situation? So this is Robert Malone. I will be recording a podcast, about Maui, but they're just showing this is where the majority of the devastation happened, and this is where the indigenous people were living. that the rich people want their land. I'm going to share this. So this is just right here. This is the island of Maui. There were fires over here we're not hearing much about, and I do need to look into that, but the devastation has happened. And again, very suspicious activity. The water was shut off so they couldn't fight the fires. There were police blockades, and I'm going to show you video proof that people were turned around and turned back into the fire, and they weren't allowed to escape. What was going on there? And of course, the cops are saying I'm just following orders. Well, you know who else were just following orders throughout history? I'm sure you know who I'm going to reference. So we can't just follow orders. And the Nuremberg trial made sure that you knew, everybody should have known, that you are responsible for your actions. The I'm just following orders bit doesn't work in the court of law, doesn't work in a moral and just society. But unfortunately, people have forgotten about the Nuremberg Code these last few years. So this is out of Opinion Canada. Were the Maui wildfires a master plan to reshape Hawaii? Now, this is unveiling a twisted conspiracy. This is Chris Wick. I'm not saying that this opinioncanada.ca is a legit website, but there are key pieces of information that shoot off into other pieces of information. It kind of gives you an idea of where the conspiracy theorists are, where their mind's at, and why they're thinking the way they're thinking. The elaborate plot to burn paradise into a playground for the global elite. Who knew that Build Back Better actually meant burn it down first? If nothing else, this whole saga teaches us one valuable lesson. If you were a multi-billionaire with a penchant for mega mansions, make sure to double check your property's fire insurance coverage. That's another thing. The insurance, they're saying that they're not going to cover these individuals because the proper permits weren't in place. There's just too many things going on that lead up to land grab. And the proclamation that's on the thumbnail, which I'm going to show you, but continuing on with this article. After all, you never know when a perfectly oval-shaped fire might be headed your way. Stay fiery and remember, the truth might be stranger than fiction. Okay. In a startling revelation, a whistleblower with the World Economic Forum has unveiled a shocking conspiracy that implicates the globalist elite in orchestrating the so-called fake Maui fires. Again, they weren't fake. People perished, and that is devastating. And so there's nothing about... The only thing that's fake potentially is that it's a wildfire. Another thing is how hot the fires were burning. The temperatures were well above a wildfire. It's 1,400 degrees for a wildfire, and this was at 2,200. So they were well above a normal wildfire level of heat, which is why these buildings and individual people are ashes now. According to this insider, these wildfires were not merely natural disasters, but a calculated scheme to contaminate the air, water, and soil while facilitating a covert property redistribution agenda. The chilling message behind Build Back Better takes on a new meaning, as it appears to involve deliberate strategy of destruction, followed by reconstruction in alignment with the New World Order's plans, which the New World Order, the World Economic Forum, and the United Nations working together to bring about a New World Order. Under the guise of progress, the World Economic Forum is allegedly using Maui as a testing ground to launch a devastating assault on the population. This assault, it is claimed, lays the groundwork for transforming the island into what is referred to as a 15-minute city. These urban zones are seemingly designed to confine ordinary citizens within vast outdoor prisons, leaving them with no means of escape. The masterminds behind this plan are said to have been scheming for years, and now their elaborate plan is unfolding right before us. This alarming assertion raises concerns about the true motives of the global elite. Speaking of alarms, I'm sure that you've heard of this as well, because a lot of this is in the mainstream, although I don't see very many videos that I'm going to share with you in the mainstream media. But the alarm system is, I think, the largest in the world, the most comprehensive alarm system that you could have. And they did not sound the alarms. They have the capability, just like you heard on the last or a couple live streams ago, where you heard that there's an alarm on my flip phone sent from the government to my flip phone. You're saying that you couldn't have done that, Hawaiian government, to warn the individuals that there's a fire? There's just too many. I don't believe in coincidences. There are no coincidences. Hawaii, specifically the island of Maui, has been earmarked by the global elites as the world's first smart island. Over the past few years, efforts have reportedly been underway to swiftly transition the island from its traditional way of life to conform with Klaus Schwab's 2030 vision. However, a significant obstacle emerged. The historical districts of Hawaii were valuable and sought after properties and were owned by locals who resisted selling. So again, these are individuals that have lived there their entire lives. They're locals, and they don't want to sell to billionaires. And the fact that a billionaire, Larry Ellison, who owns Oracle, which is a data mining business, he, again, $300 million he spent to buy the island right next to Maui. And the reason I looked into that is because one of the videos I saw on Twitter through Hawaiian real estate actually mentioned that that billionaire that owns the island was affecting some boats that were trying to drop off supplies, because local people on the other side of the island were trying to take their boats and bring over supplies to help the individuals. And that billionaire intercepted or did something to try to stop that from happening. So I started looking at who owns the island next to Maui. And it's Larry Ellison is his name. Again, billionaire. He is making a socialist utopia, Agenda 2030 utopia on his island. But I digress. Billionaires, they want Hawaii for themselves. Interestingly, the areas devastated by the supposed wildfires were coincidentally the prime real estate owned by ordinary individuals. This real estate was adjacent to lavish mega mansions belonging to high-profile figures like Jeff Bezos, Lady Gaga, Bill Gates, and Hollywood celebrities Will Smith, Julia Roberts. Curiously, World Economic Forum affiliate entities like McDonald's and Burger King remained curiously untouched by the fires. I didn't see any McDonald's, but I'm not really looking for the McDonald's. Hey, Dragonfly, by the way, thanks for joining me over here. Directed energy weapon with nanothermo is really hot. Yes, and that, I mean, people don't just make up things. Again, directed energy weapons are a real thing that our government is investing in. It's out in the open, so that's not a conspiracy. I guess the conspiracy theory would be, would they use that technology against their own people? And I've worked for the government, and I'm sorry to say that yes, they would, to get more power. They would do anything for more power. So here we go. Emergence of directed energy weapon allegations. A startling revelation suggests that directed energy weapons were deployed to assault the local population and obliterate their property, compelling them to embrace the globalist agenda. Or they just can't afford to rebuild there. They have to sell for pennies on the dollar, and who's going to come and buy it up? Well, the government says, we're going to take care of you guys. So that makes me feel better. Does it make you feel better, Hawaiians? Your government is going to make sure the property is taken care of? Videos recorded by residents in Lahaina showcase pulse flashes, characteristic of directed energy weapons. Similar technology was reportedly employed in Chile, underscoring the gravity of the situation. Conspiracy theories or disturbing reality. The mainstream media's fervent attempts to dismiss these claims as conspiracy theories fall short in light of emerging evidence. Sorry, my nose itches. The deployment of energy-directed weapons is no longer a mere theory. It appears to be an alarming reality. The audacious land grab by the global elites. With the alleged success of their calculated destruction, the global elite, spearheaded by World Economic Forum partners BlackRock and Vanguard, are seizing the opportunity to acquire the land and initiate the construction of the infamous 15-minute city. The notion that Hawaii is poised to lead the United States into Klaus Schwab's vision of the future is no laughing matter. Claims that the Hawaiian political elite is under the sway of international interests warrant serious consideration. Of course, we're going to see he was over in the United Nations in July, hanging out with the United Nations, making promises on furthering the sustainable development goals of Agenda 21. Office of the Governor, recap of Governor Green at the UN presenting Hawaii's sustainability update, July 12th. This is right before he signed the proclamation. So he goes over here to the United Nations and schmoozes with all these globalists. They make their plans, and then they come back and they implement them. And that's what he did. Hawaii's second voluntary local review presented by Governor Josh Green to the United Nations during the high-level political forum on sustainable development July 12th, presents a good news, bad news scenario. The review highlights progress on achieving the 6 Aloha Plus and Challenge goals, which are the state's local implementation of the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and clearly defines what it is lacking. Hawaii stands as the sole state in the United States to have submitted a VLR, with the report being prepared by Hawaii Green Growth with input from local partners. Now, when they say with input from local partners, that is talking about the Delphi technique, which I discussed in the video on Grand Rapids being an ICLEI city, becoming a 15-minute city. So they bring people in from Grand Rapids. Let's say, to use that as an example, Grand Rapids, Michigan just did their master plan. And they say, hey, come on down, people. We want to know your input. And then you sit at these tables, and the conversation is guided by facilitators that are facilitating a Delphi technique to basically lead you to where they want you to go, and you think that you went there on your own. They are trained to do this. It is a real thing that happens every time there's a master plan. The Delphi technique is being used because that is how they implement their Agenda 21 locally. So the input is bullshit, okay? They steer you into thinking the way they want you to think. As the world reels with new undeniable impacts of climate change, it lends another level of urgency that Hawaii's youth express in the VLR. We cannot put off changing things any longer. We refuse to stand idle when 2030 looms closer and closer. We only have one island Earth. Let us do our best to take care of it and each other. We are one species with one planet, one chance. Again, 2030, they're implementing this agenda. Hawaii's status on its goals can be seen on the Aloha dashboard for predictive planning. The state is on track to meet its 2030 targets on renewable energy and energy efficiency, but not for clean transportation, with its goal of reducing petroleum usage to 136 million gallons per year. The most recent data shows that 472 gallons per year were used. Let's see, Dragonfly says, under King David... Oh, I'm so terrible with names. I'm sorry. Kalakua's reign from 1874 to 1891, Hawaii ceded away from the rights to Pearl Harbor and signed a free trade agreement with the United States that greatly benefited the islands. Let's see, Michelle Wise, that is true. We went to the meeting to see what it was about, and they did not allow anyone to ask questions. Yes, thank you, Michelle Wise. Yes, she went to the Grand Rapids master plan meetings where you were allegedly giving your input, but they already had the plan for a 15-minute city. She actually sent me pictures of a map that they had to write how they would build a 15-minute city. Like, that's what you did when you went. So the 15-minute city is happening. How would you plan it out? Like, that's where we're at. That's Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is not a huge, I mean, it's definitely a booming, it's beer city, you know, it's doing very well, but it's the fact, it's not Detroit, but they're coming for Grand Rapids too. So they're in your state. They're probably in your first and second and third largest cities, maybe even fourth and fifth. The goal to double food production by 2030, first introduced by the 2050 Sustainability Plan in 2008, when the Great Reset really began, is not on track. Production of most crops has not increased. Well, you know what? You can go back to 2001 with the Patriot Act. You could say that that was really the beginning of the change in the United States and the way the world was working. Production of most crops has not increased at a pace to reach the goal. So this is just showing how involved the governor of Hawaii is in the United Nations. So this is the proclamation relating to housing. July 17th, it was put into place. It's a 2-month proclamation is how long it lasts. Now, it doesn't say it on here that I could find, but everything I've read is that a proclamation is 2 months. So If I'm wrong on that, let me know in the comments. I love more information, and I don't always find everything, okay? And I'm just trying to share with you the truth, and there's always more information that comes out, so then I can update, and I try to keep you informed as well. But there's always so much going on, so help me out. Let me know in the comments if you have anything to add to any of this, please. So we're scrolling down to suspension of laws right here. This is the most important part because it deals with historic preservation. So additional powers in an emergency period to the extent necessary to expedite the construction, repair, renovation, and occupancy of housing and infrastructure projects certified under this emergency proclamation. I hereby suspend the following statutes and regulations. Chapter 6E, Historic Preservation, to the extent necessary to expedite the provision of certified housing projects. Certified housing projects. That is going to go through your Economic Development Corporation in Hawaii, absolutely going through the United Nations Agenda 21 plan and implementing it. This is your Economic Development Corporation. Certified housing projects subject to the attached governor's emergency rules. So I will leave, like I always do, all the links down in the description, but that was the big thing because previously historic preservation government couldn't touch that, right? It's their own thing, like indigenous, like the Native Americans. But this proclamation changed it just a couple weeks before this happened. It's too suspicious. Now, Hawaii has a robust emergency siren warning system. It's set silent during the wildfires, the deadly wildfires. Let's see. I'm going to let this play for just a second while I bring up my other articles. Hopefully it plays. I'm running a little bit behind because, like I said, I had a great conversation over on Turn the Page. So if you get a chance to check that out, please do. Again, mask mandates coming back, lockdowns coming back by the end of this year. Thanks to Biden's Project Next Gen. Okay, so we got the no sirens. That's not working, so we're going to stop that, and we're just going to come over here. A state official refused to release water for West Maui fires. The fight over water is nothing new on Maui, but the impact on the county's ability to battle fires is coming clear. This is August 15th. Real quick, I don't know, I haven't looked into it. My husband was like, they're surrounded by water. Salt water can fight fire just as well as any other fresh water, so why not create a pump that goes down deep enough to get salt water out? Again, let me know if I'm just an idiot and that's not possible, but you think that if you're surrounded by that much water, there's got to be innovative ways, but are there rules against that? Because, like there are rules, you can't live off grid. It's for your safety, but really it's just because land use is being controlled more and more. There's no such thing as private property by the time this agenda is implemented. Let me know. With wildfires raging West Maui on August 8th, a state water official delayed the release of water that landowners wanted to help protect their properties from fire. The water standoff played out over much of the day, and the water didn't come on until too late. The dispute involved the Department of Land and Natural Resources Water Resource Management Division and West Maui Land Company, which manages agricultural and residential subdivisions in West Maui, as well as all of these different water associations. DLNR delayed releasing water requested by Maui Land Company to help prevent the spread of fire, sources familiar with the situation said. Specifically, according to the accounts of 4 people with knowledge of the situation, M. Kaleo Manuel, a native Hawaiian cultural practitioner and DLNR's deputy director for water resource management, initially balked at the West Maui's Land Company's request for additional water to help prevent the fire from spreading to properties managed by the company. Why the hell would he balk? By the way, this individual is part of the Obama Foundation. So there he is. Reject these cookies. So this is the Obama Foundation leaders. This him right there. So when Obama came out and said, donate to the Red Cross. Please don't donate to the Red Cross. I will leave a link down in the description of the Hawaii real estate agent that has gotten together a nonprofit you can donate to. Check out his videos. Make sure that you trust him. I do. That's so far from what I've seen. That's why I'm going to recommend. He got $1,000 specifically for this individual that he interviewed named Fish, which I'm going to show in a minute. And that $1,000 went right into his hands. So I feel like he is actually doing what the people want. If you say, hey, I want to give this money for this thing in specific, then they will do that. He's an actual Hawaiian, and he's been showing a lot of information about what's going on. So going back to this, according to sources, Manuel wanted West Maui land to get permission from a taro or kalo farm located downstream from the company's property. Manuel eventually released water, but not until after the fire had spread. It was not clear on Monday how much damage the fire did or whether homes were damaged. He declined to be interviewed for this story. DLNR's communications office said in an email that it was supporting the state's emergency communication response and unable to facilitate your inquiry at this time. So why? Let's see, I have a video for it. We'll share this.
Responsible per our authorizing statute to protect and manage all water resources in the state. One Water is like taking it and looking at it from a holistic system perspective. And that's not any different than how Hawaiians traditionally managed water. You know, in essence, Native Hawaiians treated water as one of the earthly manifestations of a god and a kua kane. And so that reverence for a resource and that reciprocity in relationship was something that was really, really important to our worldview and well-being, right? And living in an island, isolated from other, civilizations. And so I think where it shifted to today or over time is that we've become used to looking at water as like something which we use and not necessarily something that we revere as that thing that gives us life, right? I mean, to me, it's a shift in value set. And, if we can start to really look at how we as humans in an island can reconnect to that traditional value set. So really, my motto is always like, let water connect us and not divide us. Like we can share it, but it requires true conversations about equity.
There's that freaking word, equity. When you hear that, think this guy is either brainwashed by the World Economic Forum, United Nations New World Order agenda with their Green New Deals and all their bullshit, or he's an agent, right? He knows what's going on and he's doing their bidding. So it's ignorance or malevolence. But the fact is, this guy killed people. He killed people by not allowing them to have water to fight fires. He destroyed houses. He destroyed people's private property by not letting them have the water because he wants to, just like Jordan Peterson said, worship the nature. Now, of course, water is very important. It could have saved lives right there. You want to talk about water is important to life? Well, fuck yeah, it is. It was important for these people's lives, and you stopped them from getting that water. Sorry for swearing, but yeah, this guy literally did. He's responsible for the deaths of people. I don't know how many, but by not allowing them to have water, that is, again, ignorance or malevolence, guys. We need to ask these questions. So I have so much information to share. This is another one, a gunfire without bullets. Hawaii firefighters face down blaze with dry hydrants. Firefighters on the front line in Hawaii are telling harrowing stories of watching their town burn while water ran out and they were forced to flee. The stories are coming out through their union leaders who are trying to make sure they have the continuing support they need. Hawaii Firefighters Association President Bobby Lee said he and two executives of the International Union toured Lahaina and met with Maui firefighters on Sunday. Our resources were pretty much overwhelmed. Officials said firefighters described the wind-driven fires bearing down on Lahaina on being like a blowtorch, with 25 to 30 firefighters staring down the flames as their hydrants went dry. It's unclear what made the hydrants dry, he said. Governor Josh Green said Monday that will be part of the state attorney's investigation. Well, we know why. That guy would not allow it. Got a couple comments here. Dragonfly says, isn't Detroit supposed to be a smart city too? Yes, they're actually calling Ann Arbor a 20-minute neighborhood, but it's the same concept. It's just because it's a little bit bigger, you get 5 more minutes. But it's crazy. They're doing it in London right now. Nigel Farage, which I don't know that much about him. He was a politician, so they're barely trustworthy, if at all. But he was saying how there's a camera on every street now, and if you go past your 15 minutes, then you get a ticket. It's nuts. So yes, Detroit is set to be a 15 or 20-minute neighborhood rather, and the World Economic Forum created their advanced manufacturing facility, the first in the United States, in Detroit. So yes, they are here, and Michigan has, that's why I talk so much about Michigan, is because it is all connected. What's going on in Hawaii is going on in Michigan, is going on in Montana even. It's crazy, but this is all one plan. So we need to identify that plan and try to get people to understand what's going on so that they can stop it locally. We can stop it locally. I have faith. You have to have faith. We can do it. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I just have so much. All right. So, woke Hawaiian officials stalled release of revered water until it was too late to save Maui. How detrimental is it to allow far-left ideologues into bureaucratic public works positions? Now, this is out of Zero Hedge. I'm not going to lie. I've been going to Zero Hedge for like 10 years. It's a financial focused blog, usually. Not blog, news site, but they're all blogs, technically. Anyway, it's a financial news site. I am really big into macroeconomics, hence why the World Economic Forum is always in my sight. But I like that Tyler Durden is always the author. It doesn't matter really who the author is, it's the information. And I usually like the information. The state of Hawaii just found out this week with a blaze that engulfed the island of Maui and killed at least 110 people. A series of management blunders are being blamed for the deadly wildfire, but one incident in particular has frightening implications. With wildfires ripping across West Maui on August 8th, a state water official delayed the release of water that landowners requested to help protect their property from damage and stop the spread. The water standoff played out over much of the day, and the water didn't come until too late. The dispute involved... Okay, yes, I already read that one. According to the counts... Oh, this might be most of the same. His office is yet to comment. There's the thing. His sentiment represents a now familiar far-left cultism and propensity to place earth worship and climate ideology over the lives of average people. It is also a rather common trope of the far left to depict indigenous peoples as environmental sages, one with the planet, leaving it unaltered for thousands of years. This is not historically accurate, but it certainly serves the purpose of the progressive narrative. Upon arrival of the islands, Polynesians introduced their own transported landscapes and alien species of animals. The population grew, cleared vegetation, and established an intricate agricultural system by the 1300s. Hawaii was indelibly altered by the Polynesians long before Europeans ever arrived. Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy summed up the disgusting farce in a tweet. There's a dark but hard truth to the Maui catastrophe that has led to over 110 tragic deaths. As wildfires rage, desperate residents petitioned state officials to send more water for firefighting and to help protect their properties from fire. That request went unanswered for hours, withholding critical aid to islanders. Now we're learning that the official who delayed the approval is an Obama Foundation Asia Pacific leader and a climate activist who believes water should be revered first and foremost. The DEI agenda is literally costing people their lives. Hawaii's Democratic Governor Josh Green says there are people fighting against the release of the water to fight fires and that it needs to be further explored. The number one responsibility of government is to protect its citizens. The victims and their families deserve the truth. One might argue that freshwater as an island state requires more careful planning in terms of day-to-day applications. One cannot argue, though, that water should be withheld in emergencies due to one's personal and meaningless belief in tribal superstition, nor can a person argue that properties and people should burn because of water equity, whatever that means. Yeah. Equity is going to unfortunately kill a lot of people if we allow it to continue. Equal outcomes. That's what equity means. So I found this LinkedIn article, What Really Happened in Maui. I was there. This came out August 12th, so 4 days after the fires. Janine says, great information. Thank you very much. And call them out. And yeah, I will continue to call them out. Thank you, Janine. Let's see. Dragonfly says, thermal conductivity, enhancement of water by adding graphene nanosheets, consideration of particle loading and temperature effect. You know, I believe I have a geoengineering video that I'm going to try to get to. I will put it in the description whether I get to it or not. But there's something to be said about all the chemicals that they're spraying in the air and how that possibly could be related to directed energy weapons. So this person, I live in Maui and I'm okay, but I was there in Lahaina that morning and the whole truth is yet to come out. I want to thank all of you who have reached out to me from across the world after seeing pictures and videos and devastating destruction that took place on Tuesday, August 8th, which destroyed the old historic town of Lahaina. It also rampaged through agricultural lands in Kula in the upcountry region of this beautiful valley island. Okay, so some of those fires that we saw on the map, they were agricultural lands, which we know that there's a war on cows and life in general because of carbon. So going after our food supply is in this plan as well. The death toll will easily reach more than 100 once they locate all the bodies. Thousands are homeless, and so I ask you to give whatever you can. This person says, to Hungry Homeless Heroes, a group that is now making and distributing over 400 meals a day, and to feed those who have nothing left. This is my story. A friend called me early morning Tuesday, August 8th, and told me he had a strong urge to visit Lahaina that day, tempting me with lunch at Cool Cats, one of my favorite eateries in Old Lahaina. I said, okay, let's go. 30-minute drive was without incident, without winds, and without any warning advisories. As soon as we reached Lahaina, all power got zapped. Cell phone, internet, traffic lights, GPS, the 911 emergency system, which is never supposed to go down, and the power outage caused every store and shopping mall to immediately close. Nothing was open. That's crazy. Why were the parents at work? I guess if they weren't working in Lahaina. But the kids were sent home. Again, the kids were home alone. That breaks my heart. Then the winds came in, bringing with it rare rainless hurricane with gusts from 60 to 80 miles per hour. Trees became uprooted and branches were coming down everywhere, along with power poles. I heard a crash behind me, and there I was. 30 seconds prior was a crashed and uprooted tree. It was time to get out of there. No evacuation sirens ever went off that day when the fires began. They failed as well. My friend and I had to escape through the back road. They didn't fail. The people failed because they said, I'm going to bring it up. I have it. I have to have it here. The people failed. Oh, I'm sorry. They said that they did not sound the alarms because they thought it would confuse people and make them run uphill towards the fire, because you're supposed to run uphill when you hear the sirens. Every local I've ever heard on any video said that is nuts, that if they heard the sirens, they would know an emergency is happening. They weren't trained to know it was a tsunami to go to higher ground, that's a lie. But surprise, surprise, the government lied. No evacuation sirens ever went off. My friend and I had to escape through a back road going all the way around the island as all traffic was blocked in the other direction. Well, I have videos. Why were they blocked? Why were the cops blocking these people in? Is it because, now this is just a theory, a crazy theory, crazy thought I had, I'm going to share with you. Is it because it's easier to steal land from the dead than it is from the people that are alive? And that's a terrible thought. I hate that I think it, but it would go along with evil, and evil does exist. People choose evil every day. People choose good every day too. So praise God. Let's not forget, people do choose good every day, but we have to not be naive. We have to wake up. We can't be naive anymore. There are evil people doing evil things in the world, okay? Ignorance or malevolence. Not everybody is evil that participated in the devastation, but they're ignorant. And that ignorance has led to the malevolent people killing innocent people. So there comes a time when ignorance is no longer an excuse because the information is out there and you should know better. You should not be blocking people in. These fires were indeed strange. The night before, both my friend and many others claimed to have had very restless sleep. I personally experienced a strange flooding wave of energy in my head, almost like a seizure activity, which I have come to identify as dark energy coming in. This is a variable we need to consider. It could be that dark energy was coming in. It could be that a byproduct of direct energy weapons is almost like seizure activities. Like, because we don't know what it's like to be hit with these weapons, what the effects are on the body if you're not hit directly, but it's around you. Like, it's just, that is something, a variable we need to just think about. This flooding energy continued on and off the next morning, more so when I was in Lahaina. This told me there was directed energy involved in what was occurring. So this individual swears that it's directed energy. And how do we know it's not? So anybody that's saying that's debunked, bullshit. You can't tell me it's debunked because you don't know. This is not just another random act of Mother Nature. It reminded me of the strange fires in Paradise, California a few years back, which swept through and wiped it off the map. Their only crime was getting in the way of high-speed rail projects slated to come through the town. That goes back to the 2050 sustainability plan. They want 11 mega regions were identified. And they want a high-speed rail in between them. And I know a lot of people say that high-speed rail is just a pipe dream. All of this is a stupid pipe dream that they've envisioned and that they are forcing us to comply to. This was not just a random act. Okay, a little bit of history to draw your own conclusions. Oh, I'm going to get over here. We say Dragonfly. This could happen in any state. And sorry, I'm chatty. I've lost 7 people in under 3 years. I'm their voice now. I'm so sorry about those 7 individuals that you've lost. And you never have to be sorry about being chatty. Thank you for being here and chatted away. I'm sure that other people love it as well. Ignorance is bliss until you lose family and friends that didn't deserve any of this. Yes, a lot of people have been affected because of ignorance. And so, yeah, we do. We need to not be ignorant as much as possible. Now, of course, the more I learn, the more I understand I don't know anything. But we have to try, right? You have to try. The problem with historic Lahaina was that it had a large, old Hawaiian community that was in the way of the developers. Now it's like ground zero, declared a disaster area, and federal and states rules are probably going to be tossed aside. It's a toxic mess. They will undoubtedly blame it all on climate change and welcome in the developers to totally bulldoze and level it. All over the island, tracts of land are being bought up by corporations, and no one knows who is behind them. Foreign interests? The people on this island are beginning to put the pieces of the puzzle together and suspect this was a major power and land grab. In January 2023, there was a smart city conference where they discussed turning Maui into a 15-minute smart island. Next month, there's the digital summit to discuss turning the island digital and all AI. I kid you not. It is. Yep, next month, September. The globalists are getting together in September a lot. There's this digital summit. There's another United Nations summit. The Vatican is actually having it's not called a summit, like council. They're having like the Second Vatican Council that happened in the 60s. They're having one now this year. Like there's so much happening the end of this year. And I'm getting on a little bit of a side tangent here, but the United Nations is talking about peace in the Middle East, guys. And I haven't read the Bible. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen tons of videos on different prophecies, and we really don't know how to read prophecy. We could just try, but I am for peace. But the United Nations putting this peace in the Middle East together, 7 years till 2030, and supposedly it's 7 years of tribulations. It's just crazy to me. Again, I'm not I've never been to church except for when I was 16, and I tried a few different churches, and I found institutionalized religion wasn't for me. But I watched the Vatican because they are powerful still. It's just a secret kind of power, kind of like United Nations. People think that they're just a failed idea, a failed think tank. No, there's nothing failure about it. They're implementing their agendas. Sorry for the tangent. Fires started in the agricultural lands up county first. The breadbasket of Maui and resources were sent there first. So Lahaina, when it happened, had few resources to fight the wall of fire that swept through the entire area, trapping hundreds who could not get out and sadly perished. No sirens warned them to get out either. Right now, Maui needs your spiritual prayers more than ever to strengthen the land against these destructive forces. So many people are missing or homeless. We are not out of the woods yet. There are still ongoing fires. The old Hawaiian Ho'oponopono prayer chant to the ancestral land is, I'm sorry. Please forgive. I thank you. I love you. Please give in the aloha spirit with your contributions, love, and prayers. Forward this to others who might want the truth. Mahalo, Dr. Kathy Forte. Truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. Again, I'll leave this. You should check out her LinkedIn. Okay. I'm just going to get out of there. The book. I talked about this book. I don't know if you heard about it. What is it called? Fury and Fire, right here. Fire and Fury, Unmasking the Enigma. Now, this is actually a different author than the original. So this book was published originally August 10th, just 2 days after the fire. I think it was AI that wrote it, 44 pages long. But the first person who wrote it was Dr. Miles Stones. Like milestones, right? You put it together. This is a huge milestone that has happened in our history. But now it's saying Dr. Catherine Forbes, PhD, wrote this, and it's a different publication date. Yes, look, it's saying the 17th instead of the 10th, which was funny. Everybody pointed out because it said from August 8th to August 11th. But if it was published on the 10th, how does it know what happened on the 11th? This is just one of the books. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sharing the correct tab. But there you are. Fire and Fury. Unmasking the Enigma. Here it is. So this book, what the heck is this all about? If it is AI, why is it now a different author and a different publication date? And it's unavailable. It's out of print, limited availability. So a lot of suspicious things going on with that. Here we have Hawaii state government attempts information blackout on Maui fire, refuses media access. This was Sunday, August 20th. The West Maui disaster is becoming less about the fire, more about the government's bizarre response to the aftermath. Independent media sources and some mainstream media have confirmed multiple instances of the Democrat-controlled government's mismanagement that led to the escalation of the tragedy. The circus included a woke water management bureaucrat who believes water is godlike and that it must be distributed according to the rules of equity. The same official withheld vital firefighting resources for a day while Maui burned. The state government has been thoroughly embarrassed, but instead of responding with humility, they have doubled down and gone on the attack. The governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, took a wild swing at independent reporting, telling people not to listen to information from social media and influencers. It's hard to say what his definition of an influencer is, only that he is clearly hostile to anyone reporting news outside of the government narrative. Green's disapproval of media reporting is not limited to alternative journalists, however. It appears that there is now information blackout being instituted by the state. Corporate journalists are also being denied access to the area of the fire damage path, as well as access to any details surrounding the investigation into how the fires may have started. This is the governor of Hawaii. Josh Green basically saying that independent journalism is about what is going on in Maui is very discouraged, and that sources outside of the government should not be trusted or listened to.
Is idiotic.
All right, we're gonna listen to it.
Reporting through social media is idiotic. Don't use social media. Do not rely on people who fancy themselves as influencers. The word influencer, right off the bat, suggests that they want to influence you.
Get off your phone. Get off your tablet.
About ways for the state to acquire that land.
Right now, Pete, I can tell you that to my knowledge, we here at Fox are the only national media in West Maui. West Maui is isolated physically and in terms of information from the rest of the world. Cell service is rough. And the only reason we got here is that, as you know, my family's been here for something like 40 years and we have property here to get through the security checkpoints. In fact, Pete, the mayor of Maui yesterday tried to kick us out of West Maui, saying it's a media-free zone. It's not. There is a First Amendment. There's the United States Constitution, and this is America.
So after everything that happened, this is what they care about. This is what they hold press conferences about. Don't listen to influencers. Don't use social media. Put away your phone. This is a media-free zone. There's no First Amendment. We are the elite people. Listen to us. We will give you the information you need, and everyone else, shut the fuck up. Is this normal? Does this seem normal to you guys in a free country? Why are they so concerned about this? Why do you guys think they are so concerned about this? Please tell me in the comments. And for the people who aren't even here, who are telling me that the locals don't want me here, this is genuinely where I live. Admittedly, I haven't lived here for generations, but the people who have lived here for generations are people I've spoken to. You really think that the majority of these people don't want to get to the bottom of what happened here, what actually happened here? I mean, the government is saying that they don't want anybody to document what's going on, that they don't want anybody to get information from anybody but them, that they want to acquire this land for the state. This is not a fucking conspiracy theory. This is their own words. And you don't think that the indigenous local people that have been here for a long time you don't think they want to know what happened with this fire and what's going to happen in the future and 5, 10, 20, 50 years from now, what the fuck happened in Lahaina? You don't think these people want to know? The majority of them, every single one of them that I have run into in person has been totally supportive. I've had people hug me and thank me for what I'm doing. These people want to know what is going on, the majority. Now, despite the government's best efforts to make things difficult for me, to make things dangerous for me, and to jeopardize my safety, my family's safety, to intimidate me, despite their best efforts to do all of that shit, the vast majority, I will say, I don't know about all of them, but everyone that I've bumped into has not had a problem. Now, here's the scary thing. It only takes one of them to buy into this bullshit, ridiculous fucking narrative that they should get all of their information from the government, and the state who wants their land is going to tell them the truth, and I'm the problem, right? They should do something to me. It only takes one of them. If 5,000 of them think that I'm great, and that what I'm doing is helpful and important, and that having the truth and knowing what the fuck happened 50 years from now is important, but one of them thinks that I'm, some fucking Hallie from the mainland causing trouble, that's all it takes. So the things out here are getting sketchy as fuck. I do not feel safe. And the only safety net I have is you guys, making it so that if anything happens to me, people will know and people will ask questions, sharing the content, following on TikTok and X and things. I mean, that's it. That's the only safety net I fucking have. So so thank you to the hundreds of thousands and millions of people who have been watching, sharing, subscribing, and making sure that if I go silent, that questions will be asked.
So obviously he swore a lot, and I'm sorry for that. But it's a tense situation that he's dealing with, and obviously scary. When I first started this channel, one of the reasons why I was hesitant is because I know eventually I could say something that's just the right thing for them to come after me. And the bottom line, though, is that the truth needs to prevail, and so fear needs to go out the window. Need to have faith. I've been wanting to do this for a long time because people need to know what's going on, and I like to do research, and so I thought, why not? But this video right here, I thought actually more than why not. I thought if I don't do this, it won't matter. They'll just come for us all slowly anyway. This is so big that the only way we're stopping it is strength in numbers. And so that means people need to understand what the hell is going on. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to find out what the hell's going on myself. This is really sad. This is off Tim Truth over on Twitter, and I couldn't believe it when I watched it. It's 27 seconds long, so I'm gonna have you watch
Good luck. Look at this. Holy shit. This is a nightmare. I don't know where he's going. Probably to block our street. They're going to fucking barbecue all these people down in Lahaina. We're all trapped down in here. They're blocking off all exits. And everyone is just stuck. Going in a circle in a fire pit. Good luck.
This was just proof of what people have been saying, that the police were stopping people from leaving. So here is Fish, who got the $1,000, and this right here is the individual from the Hawaiian real estate that I'll be linking down below, that has the place where you can donate. This is
we should
Fish.
get out of here because of the speed of this wind. It could be here in 2 minutes. And
So about what time was this at? By the way, if you guys don't know who this is Fish. He's been sitting next to Cheeseburger in Paradise, selling the most awesome stuff, right, for years. He's like a legend, and everyone loves Fish, and Fish loves everybody. But he's one of the wisest people that I know, by the way. Anyway, Fish, continue.
So I went around back to Front Street, and there was all the cars were lined up, but none of them were moving. And I walked all the way from Safeway to the Chart House. Not one car had moved. And I was wondering what was stopping the traffic. Well, it was a policeman. And I got to the end, and I looked up north. There were no obstructions. There was no reason to keep those cars there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm under orders to keep them here. And I said, the fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. You know, these people got to get out of here. And he said, I'm following orders.
No way.
And I keep walking down the highway, and I look behind, no cars are coming out. I walked all the way to Waikuli Beach, still no cars coming out. And I started hearing boom, boom, boom. And then I heard people screaming and stuff.
You're saying they were blockaded in by the police at the end of Front Street?
Yeah.
Like where the restaurant is?
Right, where the Chart House
Where the Chart House was, I should
Right.
say. There was a blockade there, and they could not go any further.
Right. I walked.
What the hell?
I walked all the way from Safeway to there. Not one car had moved. But all the way to, like I said, the Civic Center. And then I started hearing all the explosions, and there was no one walking behind me or on bicycles or anything. And I just.
Dude, that is unbelievable.
I had no idea, you know, until the next day when I walked down there of what had happened. I just, oh my.
So did you go up north to your place?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yes. So why would the police block people in? Again, ignorance, malevolence. Here's some footage of the damage. You can see right here, this is where the fire was, and then here are the very smart fire, people are saying. Now, perhaps the road has something to do with it. I'm just throwing it out there, what people might say. But now look at this. Burned just fine. Absolutely devastating. And then I have this to share with you. This is
if they had time to
the individual
you regret
that was in charge of the alarms, and a reporter asked, "Do you regret not sounding them?" This is what he says.
you regret not sounding the sirens.
I do not. And the reason why, and
So many people said they could have been saved if they had time to escape. Had a siren gone off, they would have known that there was a crisis emerging. And as we know, so many bodies were found in the ground As
You
the
want him,
flames
do you want
fucking
him to
fuels.
give you the answer, or
I
do you
do,
want
but
to?
I wanna
Well, then
get it out there.
let him finish his
I'm
answer.
sorry, there's a lot of people.
Well, you're
who
talking
want
and you're not letting him
answers.
talk. If you want to talk, come up here.
I'm ready for the answer.
Then wait.
The sirens, as I mentioned earlier, is used primarily for tsunamis, and that's the reason why many of them are found, almost all of them are found on the coastline. The public is trained to seek higher ground in the event that the siren is sounded. In fact, on the website of the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, the firing guideline is provided. If you are in a low-lying area near the coastline, evacuate to high grounds, inland or vertically to the fourth floor and higher of a concrete building. Alerts may also come in the form of a wireless emergency alert. Had we sounded the siren that night, we're afraid that people would have gone Malka. And if that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire. And so that is the reason why our protocol has been to use WEA and EAS. By the way, I should also note that there are no sirens Malka or on the mountainside where the fire was.
All right, and then I have a lot to share because it all speaks volumes. So here's an individual talking about insurance.
Not that long ago, Hawaiian government officials in the areas that were just affected by the wildfires passed a law saying that that land could not be redistricted for new building permits unless some sort or some type of a serious natural disaster occurred. Serious natural disaster occurred. And what did we have happen through those 3 districts of very sacred land to the Hawaiians? A very serious natural disaster. I'm not going to get into space lasers and all of that shit, but people called their insurance companies after the fire, and the insurance companies, for the first time, informed them that there was zoning infractions on their land, so they would not honor their insurance policies.
Can you believe that? So now you don't get to have your insurance cover because of permits that you didn't know about. Like, I mean, just all of these facts, add them up for yourself, and what do you see? You know, just like Dragonfly said, it looks like there was a massacre, that our government, who is at war with us, is doing these terrible things. I think ignorance is sprinkled in, but malevolence is definitely has an upper hand. I mean, everybody, I hope, if you are honest with yourself, can feel that something wicked this way comes. Oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. Let me show you.
We are under attack. What is happening in Canada, in
That's the Chile laser that people have reported.
California, in Hawaii? They are using these direct energy weapons, these DEWs, to start these fires, destroy these towns, to push this climate change agenda. So they can start to lock us down, to control us, and start pushing these 15-minute cities onto society. This video is from a few years ago, is of a satellite weapon hitting somewhere in South America. The news, the mainstream media, tried to lie and say this was the reaction of a lens glare on the camera lens from an explosion on the ground. But that is not how lens flares work, and I can prove it right now. The only time a lens will flare up is if the source of light is pointing directly at, as you can see now, at the camera. That is the only time a lens flare can possibly happen with a camera lens. This is an explosion half a mile to a mile away that has no direct source of light pointing anywhere near this camera. This is the circumstance that is starting to wake the world up. This video is just part one of a two-part. This video is just that is starting.
So that's Lahaina. Look at that. And when you see things like this, I mean, you think that's just natural? And this is why when people call other people conspiracy theorists, I'm like, that CIA terminology doesn't affect me whatsoever. If you want to call me a conspiracy theorist, I don't care, because I know that the conspiracy theorists are actually just critical thinkers who are doing research. These globalists are telling us what they want to do, and there's proof because there's cameras everywhere about things that are happening that they don't tell you on the mainstream media, which I never watch. I mean, Fox News, just as bad as CNN. I want to show you this quick video by Rosa Corey on why exactly this land grab is a globalist plan, if this is a land grab that's happening in Maui. And real quick, Barb, this insurance stuff is happening in other states too. Yes, they will use any means necessary. The ends justify the means to get their anointed plans, their self-anointed vision implemented. They really are trying to make a utopia. They want no one will be hungry on the face of the planet. That sounds great. That's one of the sustainable development goals. But in order for that to take place, well, we have to kill 5 billion people, and then the rest of the people won't be hungry. So you see, the ends justify the means. It sounds terrible. It sounds like, who would do that? But again, there are people in this world that choose evil. They want to reign in this material world right here, right now. Either they don't believe or don't care about the spiritual side. You know, there's yin, there's yang. There's material, there's spirit. And some people, there's no balance. They choose to just go full on materialist. And they will have everything they want in this world. But what about the spiritual side? And I'm not even talking about in the next world. I mean, I've been in a bad place before where I was making really poor choices. And spiritually, I was lost and sad. And so even in this world, read Crime and Punishment. Even in this world, if you do terrible things to gain material wealth, you will feel the ramifications of that. However, some people just choose to beat their consciousness to a pulp and put them in the box. And other people choose to actually listen to their consciousness. So thank God for free will, but because of free will, there is a choice. And so some people choose wrong. That's how I look at evil. Oh, I did it again. Sorry. There.
My book, of course, is Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21. And I'm going to follow up with the goals of UN Agenda 21, which we've clearly covered are world domination. And Agenda 21 is the agenda for the 21st century. It's the comprehensive plan of action, the blueprint to inventory and control all land, all water, all minerals, plants, animals, construction, means of production, education, energy, law enforcement, health, all information, all human beings in the world. It's a comprehensive plan of action. It's a total, it is total world domination, and it is, of course, underway right now. So what does it look like? Because as I say, it doesn't come called United Nations Agenda 21. It's called many different things. And it becomes clear for you when you know that globalization is the standardization of all things, all systems. So global, what does global really mean? It means the erasure of the nation state, because it's not international, it's global. So you erase nations and you replace them with a single control mechanism. Okay, so how do you do that? Because you can't just jump right into that, right off. So there's an interim step, which is regionalization. Now, regionalization destroys your sovereignty. It erases your jurisdictional boundaries, those entities that you vote for, the municipalities you vote for, city, county, state, and federal, or it could be parish or province. But these are what you go when you go into the voting booth and you vote. This is what you vote for. This is representative government. So Agenda 21 destroys representative government. It's government by boards and commissions, governance. It's not government. You do it. It rules over you. It does not. It's not influenced by you. So that's really important, right? And how do you find it? What does it look like? So these regional plans are happening all around you right now, no matter where you are in the world. And we did sue to stop one, to try to stop one in the San Francisco Bay Area called Plan Bay Area that actually turns 101 cities and 9 counties into a single unit. And these are mega regions. So this is an interim step to the mega region, the regionalization. You might see, you'll see mega regions all over the world. And you can go to America2050.org, which you want to look at the Wayback Machine, archive.org, and look at America2050.org in the past, because of course now they've changed what they do and what they say about themselves and who their funders are, which is principally the Ford and Rockefeller Foundation. So what are you going to look for when you're looking for a regional plan? So you want to put your town name or your county name or whatever into your search browser, along with the words regional plan and sustainability. And what are you going to find? You're going to find something like this, something called the Power of 32, which is 32 counties in 4 states, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Maryland. You'll find One Valley, One Vision. That's in Montana. You might see it in New Mexico as well. Imagine KC. That's Kansas City, Missouri. Envision Skagit 2060. That is in Washington.
So that is Rosa Corey. Unfortunately, she passed away in the hospital, I think from a ventilator in 2021. So some of her last videos, which was this one, happened after the Great Reset really began in earnest. And so she's got some videos out there. I recommend you check her out. She laid the groundwork for me in what I know about Agenda 21 2030. And she was a Democrat against Agenda 21. And against the United Nations. And she was into real estate. And so that's how she found it. And so these plans are real. And that's the point that I brought her into this for, is just so that you know that a land grab is not outside the realm of possibility. Like she said, if you go and you type in any of what she said, you will find in your state that the United Nations and World Economic Forum are working towards taking away your private property rights, and corral you into the 15-minute city, or a 15-minute island. And so know thy enemy, right? If you know them, then perhaps we can stop them. Dragonfly says, smart metering brings the potential of applying data-driven algorithms for different power system operations and planning services, such as infrastructure sizing and upgrade and generation forecasting. Yes, they definitely want to know everything they can about us, and control how we think and what's going on. So this is the World Economic Forum in 2018, how Hawaii plans to be the first U.S. state to run entirely on clean energy. And again, I should show something about Larry Ellison, because I just couldn't believe that he is so involved. Again, Oracle, who is a partner of the World Economic Forum. So it says it might be a reputation as an ecological paradise, but Hawaii is also one of America's most fossil fuel dependent states. This is largely because of its isolated location in the Pacific Ocean. Jet fuel accounts for more than half of all transportation consumption. The state economy depends heavily on tourism and the military, and such is the demand for military installations and commercial airlines that jet fuel makes up a larger share of total petroleum consumption in Hawaii than in any other state except Alaska. To cut the state's greenhouse gas emissions, the Hawaiian government launched the Clean Energy Initiative in 2008. Which pledges to establish new green credentials and aims to use 100% renewable electricity to power the entire state by 2045. Now, I'm pretty sure it was Obama, right? Obama, I know he went to the United Nations and promised them all kinds of things. Obama put tons of money into the United Nations peacekeeping operations. So, yes, 2008 under Obama. One of the worst presidents we've ever had. But I mean, come on, they're all bad. Clinton, Bush, Obama, Woodrow Wilson, who was the worst, brought in the Federal Reserve banking system and income tax and the First World War and the Second World War. Anyway, yeah, we've had a lot of bad presidents. And a significant move 4 mayors from across the state have signed an agreement to run Hawaii's public transport system using only clean energy by 2045, making the announcement aboard a traditional Hawaiian voyaging canoe. Maui Mayor Alan Arakawa said, "The goals we are setting today are not only desirable but attainable, and help send a message that Maui County and Hawaii are open for innovation to help ensure the great health of our communities and the planet as a whole." So, as you can see, the World Economic Forum has had their evil little Sauron eye on Hawaii at least since 2018. I'm sure you can go back all the way to 2008 or further. I mean, Klaus Schwab has been around since the 70s. Again, 60s and 70s. A lot has happened for the globalization push. President Donald Trump decided last year to withdraw from the U.S. from the Paris Agreement, which is dedicated to keeping global warming temperatures. And I don't like Trump, but I agreed with that move. I'm glad we got out of the Paris Agreement. Why did he do that? Because I do think that he is working on the larger stage. He definitely is playing chess. Why exactly he removed us from the Paris Agreement, I don't know. I can't speculate. I'm just glad he did, because obviously I know that you can't prove carbon is bad. And so the whole climate change bullshit is exactly that. We are carbon-based life forms, baby. Embrace the carbon. Now, clean up our oceans. Absolutely. Don't put poisonous freaking EV battery plants on our rivers or semiconductor plants and use a straw to suck out Lake Huron. No, don't do any of that. But to say we have to kill 200,000 cows to save the planet is anti-life. According to the Hawaii State Energy Office, collectively, these projects have the capacity to generate around 156 million kilowatt energy per hour. Okay. The island of Kauai, which sits northwest of the Hawaii capital of Honolulu, boasts over 15 of the projects, including a major solar farm created by Tesla. Oh, look at that. Isn't that how green? Oh, look at how green this is. Isn't it beautiful? It's so much better than having a farm with cows. Don't you think? The project is composed of 54,000 solar panels. Tesla also installed 272 power pack battery systems to store the solar energy to use at night. Yeah. Dragonfly says, I just looked up Oakland County, Michigan, and yep, she is correct. Yeah. Rest in peace to Rosa Corey, but she wrote this book. Whoa, do I have it close? No, I don't. It's Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21, I believe. Behind the Green Mask, Rosa Corey. Usually you can find it online for $20, but every now and then you can't, and it's like $200 because it's out of publication. It's weird. All right, so now we're going to get into the question of direct energy weapons. Friends, yesterday I shared proof of direct energy operations within the U.S. and evidence of this laser technology on the island of Maui. She has a video which she shares this. I'll show you really quick. Air Force Maui Optical and Supercomputing, AMOS site. And you come down here and it shows the scientists and engineers of the Air Force Research Facility advanced technologies that improve the nation's capacity to maintain SSA. One of these sites is located in Kirkland Air Base. The Maui site, where is it? The facility is the Maui Space Surveillance System, and the second is the Maui High Performance Computing Center. Research thrusts at the AMOS site include satellite detection and identification, atmospheric compensation and resolved imaging, astrodynamics and orbital metrics, sensor development, laser propagation through the Earth's atmosphere, database cataloging of satellite images, and high-performance computer modeling and simulation. So there it is, lasers, okay? Through the Earth's atmosphere. So when people say space lasers, that's crazy. No, this is an Air Force research facility. This is on their website. All you have to do is a little bit of digging, and you can find that It's not out of mind, it's not crazy to know that we have this technology, we have this capability. So, these lasers or directed energy weapons refer to a type of system that operates at a distance and inflicts damage onto its intended target by the utilization of concentrated energy without the need for a physical projectile. Examples of such weapons include lasers, microwaves, particle beams, and sound beams. The powers, again, sound beams, because we are every atom inside of us is vibrating at a frequency. So we are frequency. And so if you know that, and you know how to manipulate that frequency using different frequencies and sound waves, then you can do things that we don't understand. We could, who knows, do anything that, I'm not going to get into all that. The powers that shouldn't be have had this technology at their disposal for decades, and defense contractors like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman have contracted with the military to bring directed energy capabilities to warfighters. Okay, since she mentioned it, I am going to bring it up. How long is this one?
At Lockheed Martin, we're on a mission. Your mission. Not just the next mission, but the one that's 2 steps ahead. The one that depends on solving problems before they happen. Our mission is to prepare you for the future by engineering advanced capabilities today, so that you can protect what matters most. That's why we've not only taken the lead in hypersonics, but we're helping you integrate that technology faster than ever. It's why we're not only developing the laser weapon systems you'll need, but deploying them in the field. It's why we've coded cyber readiness into everything we do. It's why we created Orion, the only spacecraft that can take humans to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Why the next generation fighter is ready to help you protect the generations to come. And why we've already built autonomous technology and artificial intelligence that advance human ability. The multi-domain battle space of the future is already here, and there's no time to waste. No time to play catch-up. New age threats require new age capabilities. And that's why, at Lockheed Martin, our mission is to build the integrated solutions you can depend on. Because the world is depending on you.
So obviously Lockheed Martin is part of the military-industrial complex. Why when we learn new science, do we have to make weapons first? Because just like Eisenhower said, the military-industrial complex is out of control. Here is one more. We got Boeing.
Gives me that. Oh yeah, I work for Boeing. Oh, you work with planes. And then I tell them, well, it's directed energy that I work in. Oh, what's that? Well, I work with lasers. Well, everybody's eyes always open up.
Commercial for Boeing.
U.S. Army's high energy laser mobile demonstrator. Its primary mission is to go after threats the Army is going to see, such as counter rockets, mortars, artillery. We're accurate enough we can destroy sensors on the UAV or unmanned aerial vehicle, or we can actually just go ahead and destroy the UAV. The key thing about directed energy that everybody has to understand, they're very, very precise things. So you're pinpointing very specific points on the target. You're targeting the tail of a mortar so that it flies off its trajectory. You're not affecting the whole target itself. Having a focus beam on a target is taking a magnifying glass and putting a piece of paper in front of it and trying to focus the sun's light so that you can burn a hole through it. Now let's take that piece of paper, fold it into a paper airplane. Try and keep a beam on and try and burn through it. That's what we're doing, and that's incredibly hard. How does a laser work? You have to put energy in. What's given off is light, photons coming off of actual material. And we take that light and put it through magnification, collimators, different types of lenses, so that we can shape the beam to what we want it to be. The key mission, you want to protect your troops on the ground.
Right. That's the key mission. Right. It's not to, yeah, who knows? Again, we really don't know what technology our government has because we give them money and then they black budget it, which means they spend our money on things that we don't get to know about because it's too dangerous for us to know about. It's not too dangerous for them to know about, for them to create. It's just too dangerous for us plebs to know about. So, I want to mention that I've been covering the Maui fire attacks since the day they were inflicted upon the unsuspecting population. My heart and prayers are with all those suffering this horrendous devastation. And I will continue to dig deeper to uncover the nefarious actors and actions that are driving it. Something I didn't show you, I don't know if you've heard, but the same incident commander of the very suspicious Las Vegas shootings that happened in 2017, he is now the police commander. So he was in charge of the police force that told people to told his police officers to block off exits, basically, for Lahaina, so they couldn't get out. So that individual that had all that suspicious shit going on in 2017, he got promoted. And here's something that I learned too, and I didn't get the details. I'll try to find it and put it in the description. But I saw this, that he started out at 150,000. He wanted a raise just a few months ago to 192,000. He got a raise even higher than that to $210,000 is what he makes now. And why would he ask for a raise to 192? Why wouldn't they just do that? They gave him even more. Is it because he is going to be in charge of this nefarious attack, possible attack from our government? I mean, why is it that he got 210,000 when he only asked for 192? And still, that's a 23 or 26% raise that he got just recently. So there's a lot of suspicious stuff with the police officer as well. We observe time and again from these devastating fire aftermaths how these lasers, a form of energy capable of cutting through metal, can completely melt metal, destroy cars, and decimate buildings while leaving behind trees and various combustible objects. When comparing the damage from natural outdoor fires to the damage caused by Lahaina fire, there are a lot of things that don't add up. The devastation is so severe it looks like a bomb went off. Nearly all the witnesses that I had interviewed or that I have personally spoken to have described hearing explosions. Yeah, it's awful. It's a devastation. The photographic images depict obliterated structures and molten metal, while the surrounding vegetation, including grass, trees, remains relatively unscathed, and wooden picnic tables are still standing. So you see these trees are all still here, and yet there's nothing to be said about, there's no refrigeration or anything like that in these pictures. His picnic tables are right there. Wooden picnic tables. Now, obviously, fire and with wind, it can be unpredictable and it can jump to some things and not others. But the fact is that you look around and there are tons of trees that were not touched. And yet metal and people have been turned to ash. So why is it that there's still leaves? Look at all this vegetation. So there's just so many questions. And again, look at, this is a boat. Why were the boats in the water on fire? Strangely, the ships were on fire in the middle of the ocean as well. Images from the fire are mostly in line with what you would expect to see after a bomb, or with the notion that a directed energy weapon was responsible. The heat densities of DEWs are similar to those experienced at the exhaust of a rocket engine motor or in the close vicinity of a nuclear explosion, U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory. When digging through Air Force Material Command's website, I discovered that their research labs have operational locations in 10 states: California, Florida, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, New York, Ohio, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia. The inclusion of Hawaii in the list might seem like a mere coincidence, but the coincidences keep piling up. And not only is the research lab operating in the state of Hawaii, but its precise location is on the island of Maui. So there you go. There it is. Here's Lahaina that got burned. Here is the Laser Air Force Research Facility. Now, if this technology works like they said, do you have to be on the same island? I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, again, this is all top secret stuff. We pay for it, but we don't even know what the hell we're paying for. Oh, Dragonfly says it's really storming where she's at in Michigan. I'm here in Michigan too, but I'm farther north, and it's looking not. It looks cloudy. Doesn't look. There's no storm here yet. I don't know if there will be. Satellite detection and identification, atmospheric compensation, and resolved imaging, astrodynamics and orbital metrics, sensor development, laser propagation. Right. As I mentioned previously, DEWs not only include lasers, but also microwaves, particle beams, and sound beams. It will be more difficult to anticipate the undetectable types of directed energy, such as sound beams. I'm not claiming that this particular facility was responsible, but I'm pointing out that it has the capabilities of fire these lasers into the atmosphere and anywhere else as directed. I want to thank all of you. So, very good information. This was the Healthy American Peggy Hall. She's been on top of the DEW stuff because, you know, first thing mainstream media says is it's not possible, but that's bull. It is absolutely possible. Here's something else. This is direct energy weapons market by technology. And it's just saying that it's gotten in 2022, $5.3 billion. And over the next 5 years, it's supposed to go into a $12.9 billion industry by 2027. Lockheed Martin, yep, these are all of the key players in the market. And increased demand in combat operations, modernization investments in military platforms, homeland security, military. So this is, again, stock information on the market because it exists and there's a market for it. So improved reliability is a crucial factor in selecting directed energy weapon by any country. The incorporation of advanced hardware units to help gather and distribute capability across various defense platforms like combat vehicles. These directed energy weapons are deployed in strategic locations to increase detection rates. State-of-the-art directed energy weapons with high accuracy have led countries with border disputes and regional threats to rely on these advanced directed energy weapons to assist in border protection. So it's being utilized already. Challenge: integrating existing systems with new technologies. Integration between conventional and modern devices is difficult, which adversely affects the efficiency of directed energy devices. In some cases, new devices have different protocols that make these difficult to adapt. Integration of legacy systems with new technologies is time and effort consuming and may distract an organization. Based on technology, the directed energy weapon market has been segmented into high power microwave, high energy laser, sonic weapons, and electromagnetic weapons. A laser is a device that emits light through a course of optical amplification based on the stimulated emission of electromagnetic radiation. A laser is different from other sources of light as it emits light that is coherent. Spatial coherence allows a laser to be focused on a tight spot, enabling applications such as directed energy weapon systems. A large amount of focused energy is delivered by high-energy lasers to a faraway target at the speed of light, thereby causing structural and incendiary damage. High-energy laser systems use photons or light particles to carry out military missions and civil defense. This directed energy technology enables the detection of threats, tracking during maneuvers, and positive visual identification to defeat a wide range of threats, including unmanned aerial systems, rockets, artillery, and motors. In August 2022, Lockheed Martin Corporation delivered the high-energy laser to U.S. Navy. The high-energy laser weapon was installed on warships, which is 60-kilowatt laser and is officially known as High-Energy Laser Integrated Optical Dazzler and Surveillance Helios. So there you go, August. Lockheed put it on naval ships. So I saw somewhere $1 billion into directed energy weapons. Let's see. right here. The Pentagon is spending $1 billion a year in directed energy weapons. Washington is interested in weapons, but worries they'll end up in the valley of death if Pentagon isn't careful. $1 billion a year developing lasers and microwave weapons. So, this is from the California fires. This is not from the Maui fire.
Off the card. That's pretty intense energy.
You know what? I don't need to hear it. I just wanted to show you, right? Oh, where is it? Sorry, guys. There. Look at that. That is a house that looks like it was cut in half, right? Does that not look like possibly a laser just went shoo, cut that house in half? Now, again, that was California wildfires, but there's a lot of comparisons because of everything melting except for the trees. I mean, there's a lot going on with both. You come over here. This is U.S. Space Force creates first unit dedicated to targeting adversary satellites 7 days ago. We are changing the way targeting is done across the joint community when it comes to space and electromagnetic warfare. That is what this is. Now, can we go to space? I don't think so. We've never been to the moon. We can't leave. This was made for us. That's just where I stand. I can get into it in another video, but can we go in, to the higher atmospheres? Can we go up pretty high? Sure, we can go up pretty high, and you can do electromagnetic warfare from there. But the United States Space Force has activated its first and only unit dedicated to targeting other nations' satellites and ground stations that support them. 75th Intelligence Surveillance and Reconnaissance Squadron was activated on August 11th at Peterson Space Force Base in Colorado. This unit is part of the Space Delta 7, an element of U.S. Space Force, tasked with providing intelligence on adversary space capabilities. So the Space Force in electromagnetic warfare is a thing. And let's see, this one I have on here, February 20th of 2019. So quite some time ago. Are laser and directed energy weapons being used against American people? DEWs are no longer the stuff of conspiracy theory. In the last few months in the United States, there have been a number of incidents where DEW, laser weapons, and perhaps other high-tech energy weapons have openly deployed against the American people. Both the Santa Rosa and Paradise so-called wildfires in California demonstrate the fingerprints of DEW, with seemingly impossible scenarios of houses, trees, plants, and even mailbox neatly left intact while adjacent houses and fences are completely razed to the ground. Unsurprisingly to those following the crimes of the New World Order, the deployment of these weapons is tied to the deeply sinister UN Agenda 2030. One reason the New World Order manipulators can get away with their crimes against humanity is that most people are downright ignorant of the true state of technology, whether it's mind control tech, HARP, ionosphere, heaters, space fence, 5G, or anything else. It's sad, but it's true. HARP is another one. They actually discontinued HARP for a short time in 2013 because it got such negative press when people actually found out about it, which HARP is kind of related to the energy weapons because it's how it's owning the weather for military use. By 2025 is what they want to own the weather by. So HARP is still a thing. I actually have something else to share with you in just a minute. Dr. Judy Wood was one of the first people to gain notoriety in talking about DEW when she put forth her excellent and well-founded theory of the dustification of the Twin Towers and 9/11 false flag operation. This video will probably be taken down because of this, but I will have it up on Rumble if it is taken down. Wood pointed out the inexplicable lack of solid matter, concrete, steel, and other metal that should have been found in abundance on the streets of New York below the World Trade Center, but which was nowhere to be found. Where did it go? It was turned to dust. Now, I heard about this a long time ago. In 2012, actually, 9/11 is part of what helped me get out of the Matrix. I was working for the government at the time, and it absolutely is 100% possible that our government would do that to go to war, because they don't care about people's lives. They care about power, money, and at the time, oil, because it was Bush. But anyway, I digress. This technology supposedly comes from Tesla, the real Tesla, Nikola Tesla, back in the early 1900s, late 1800s. And he had information on frequencies and how you can potentially demolish a whole building using frequency. And that was all the way in the early 1900s, late 1800s. He ended up dying poor, broke, homeless, because he wanted free energy for all, and Rockefeller stole his ideas. And so they knew, Rockefeller Foundation knew about this technology all the way back then, and they've been using it and doing stuff with it. Who knows? But the fact is, we don't know the technology they have. So knowing that anything is possible, is this the answer? I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know, because I don't have top secret security clearance, and I don't have the plans in front of me to say. But when you put it all together for yourself, you see the picture, you put all the pieces. I mean, what do you think? You put the pieces together. That's why I share where I find it. I share everything with you so that you know. I don't just make this up. This is all information that I found, and that together paints a picture. And yeah, so we got some comments here. Lockheed Martin, part of nanothermal nanoparticles, and other thermal management design approaches, such as insulating and highly conductive materials to manage heat pathways inside of hypersonic vehicles, are also considerable concern. Lockheed Martin. Yes, Internet Archive. So yes, the Wayback Machine. It has tons of information. Once it's on the internet, it's there. That, World Economic Forum, United Nations, they've deleted certain articles, but they're there forever. You just have to know how to find them. Researcher Jamie Lee, who runs Taboo and A Plain Truth, has recently had his main YouTube channel censored. Surprise, surprise. However, he's starting a backup channel. He has had many videos up exposing DEW in relation to the Paradise Fires, including a video which revealed existing laser technology which dustifies metal and easily removes rust from it while sparing the wood beneath it. Wow, I need to find that video. DEW fires, not wildfires. The giveaway clue that DEW was used in Santa Rosa and Paradise is the way that specific homes were burnt along property lines. Some houses were untouched, with fresh produce out front or orange trees in the backyard next to houses that were razed to the ground. These wildfires left mailboxes, plants, front yards, backyards, eucalyptus trees, and other highly flammable things untouched, while somehow neatly and perfectly targeted particular houses, neighborhoods, and areas. Are these the most selective wildfires in American history? How can one house burn to the ground while each house on the other side remain completely intact? Wildfires obviously don't do this. Some people were horribly killed in their cars. There were reports that as many 50,000 went missing or died. Awful. And look at, yep, most selective forest fire in history. Should we still call it a forest fire if the forest doesn't burn? Good question. So, Agenda 2030, formerly Agenda 21, is the UN agenda to centralize governing power in the one world government by taking it away from the autonomous nations of the world. Now, this is applicable. I have a Maui. I have so much. Is this it? No. So, Maui is actually, again, hosting a United Nations September Council. And now I'm going to have trouble finding it. So I'm going to keep going. In California, city officials are suggesting not to rebuild in burnt areas because the area is too fire prone, all the while prohibiting the people from practicing good forest stewardship. Land grab appears to be a massive land grab. The plan is open spaces for the rulers and stack and pack micro apartments for the masses. That's why when you watch like the Michigan Strategic Fund, every single economic development project that they approve, it's mixed use housing. There's going to be commercial on the bottom, and we're going to be stacked on top of each other in the city with apartments on top. New York right now, it's basically tenement housing, like in the 30s. That was immigrant housing. They're doing the same thing now in New York City, where they're turning all their office buildings, as I've been saying they would, they're turning them into mixed use. So Bottom is going to be retail. On top of them, human beings stacked on stacked on stacked. That is the plan. Yes, it's important to care for the environment, but the green movement has been hijacked. It is being used to implement these plans and justify them. There is an ulterior motive to granting rights to inanimate objects like rocks and rivers, a trend which is happening worldwide since it's part of the New World Agenda as implemented via the United Nations. See it happening in New Zealand, India, and Ecuador. By granting human-like rights to non-humans, the New World Order conspirators plan to thwart the decentralized sovereignty of the people, kick them off the land, and force them into human habitat megalopolises. That's exactly what they're doing. And if you actually look around and see, even if you just see one little piece, you could see how this is where it's headed. That's why, again, you have to get involved in local government. It's the only thing I know that it could work, is your townships and your county. Go to those board meetings, get involved, learn what's being implemented in your county, and try to stop it. This is just one method. It's the doctrine of the lesser magistrates. And this is a Christian doctrine, but there's very good ideas in it, even if you're not a Christian. If you just know God, then this is a very good place to start with how we combat a tyrannical state. Meanwhile, 2 incidents in Louisiana and New York, respectively, at the end of December 2018, may lead you to wonder what other kinds of exotic laser weapons the government possesses and deploys against its own people. In Kenner, a small town in Louisiana, massive beams of blue light shot from the sky and set fire and destroyed buildings below. Oh, looks like the video footage has been removed. Imagine that. YouTube censorship. UFOs can be seen here too. Are the UFOs causing destruction? Okay, so UFOs are not aliens. I want to throw that out there. I hope that you guys will look into Project Bluebeam. When they bring in the aliens, don't believe it. I will do another video. If you guys comment down below, let me know if you're interested. But I really want you to don't be afraid of the aliens. The government is pushing it out there. They're talking about it all the time. And that's how you know it's a lie. If you go, I'm going to bring up this book. I have to. This book, Report from Iron Mountain. Okay? This is a report on the possibility and desirability of peace. And this was in the 60s. A think tank, a very, very secretive think tank got together and decided whether it was even desirable to have peace. And the reason why it might not be desirable is because these guys believe in, I'm going to pull myself up right here. Boom. These guys believe in Thomas Malthusian's principle, the principles of population. So they believe that the world will be overpopulated if we had peace. So their premise right off the bat is that there's too many people in the world, or there's a possibility that there will be too many people in this world. And so in order to stop that, we're going to have to destroy people. So in order for us to stop the destruction of people, we have to destroy people. So in here, it talks about, right here at the back, substitutes for the function of war. Economic, a comprehensive social welfare program directed toward maximum improvement of general conditions of human life. So this is a function to substitute, these are things to substitute for war. A giant open-end space research program aimed at unreachable targets. A permanent, ritualized, ultra-elaborate disarmament inspection system and variants of such a system. And then you come down here, and it says, an established, this is political, an established and recognized extraterrestrial menace. So if we can get all of the people to believe that there is an extraterrestrial existential threat, then we will all get together and under a new world order to fight that threat. So there's still a war. It's just not war with each other, because how can you have one world government, one world currency, and one world religion if you're fighting each other? You can't. But you need to have something to fight. So ourselves for the environment and or aliens. So don't believe it. It's a psyop, okay? So, officials say it was due to a transformer explosion, electrical station. Okay, proof of UFOs. All right, so I'm going to get into one more thing, and then I'm going to have to let you go and feed lunch to my mother-in-law. Let's see. Oh, so I'm going to leave you with this question. And again, all the links for everything I've talked about will be in the description down below. Please look into it all yourself. Don't ever just believe me. And if you have new information or conflicting information, share it. I want to update my software. Okay. I want to continue to learn. I love learning. So please share any information you have with not just me, with everybody that's watching this video. This is about the Hawaiian Electric. So honestly, I really worry that the Hawaiian Electric Company, it's now junk, is going to go under and is going to be bought up by someone in the private industry. Now, Larry Ellison is the first one that I think of because he owns that island. And he has this, Larry Ellison wants off Lani's electric grid that could be a problem for everyone else. Company owned by a business says it plans to build a private microgrid on Lanai to service 2 resorts. A move. So this guy owns this land. It's like $2,000 a night to stay on his private island. 40% of electric load goes off grid. He's trying to make this into a utopia. So what are the chances of this guy coming in and buying up this electrical company now that it's worth pennies on the dollar? Is it possible? I'd like to know your ideas. I'm going to keep an eye on it. But the fact that the Hawaiian Electric is being blamed for the fires is the reason why this stock has drastically gone down 63%. And what do you think? Do you think it was this company, or is this yet another move by the globalists to try to take control of the island? That's my question. And do you think, after all that I've shared with you, do you think that it was directed energy weapons, or it was a downed power line and some dry brush that started these fires? What do you think of directed energy weapons? Let me know all your thoughts, please. I'm so glad you guys hung out with me for this long. I hope you learned something. I have even more articles, but of course, time is always not on my side. I have so much to share and not enough time to do it. But again, you learned anything, smash like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you next week, Monday, for the mega site update and the Michigan Industry 4.0 news. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in the next video.